Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. Gosh, I almost said Burden of Command. Alright, so at this point, I've got to get these railways, I've got to get cracking on these railways, because I've got to get them properly built so that I don't end up in a kerfuffle. This is going to take me some time, but it's got to get done. A torrent of gin and beer. The far left's anti-alcohol policy is hurting their electoral prospects, as scores of thirsty voters flock to the right, hoping that a change in government will see an end to the country's temperance policies. Resist temptations. I'll tell you what tempts me, shoving this boot right here, this here boot up you moralizing teetotalers you-know-wheres. I want a drink, I'll have a drink, and if you shan't let me, then I'll go to them as will. No beer, no vote, extra momentum to the right, or run a smear campaign against these immoral bacchanalians. Reduce momentum to the far left, increase momentum to the right. I'm going to do the second one. It's not as much of a difference. The right is still gaining on the far left, which is going to continue to decrease my legitimacy. I am getting ticking loyalists. Standard of living is going back up, which I think is good. I think overall, I think my Italy's destiny still stands with the far left, such as it is in modern politics, which is to say, the industrialists and the rural folk. Again, a very moderate way of explaining the concept of the far left. We do have a labor movement, which will let us get away with certain things. I could go to public health insurance, but that's not actually going to be possible under the current model. I could go to private health insurance, which the industrialists will support and the Catholic Church be against. And then maybe, once I'm there, the Catholic Church will support the transition to public health insurance. Let me take a look at what the Catholic Church feels about. Are they corporatists yet? Are you corporatists? You're not. You like public health insurance better than you like private health insurance. All right. That's the plan. That's smart. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Catholic Church is reasonably strong, but they're not that strong. I don't feel too extreme a way about it, and it's going to cost more bureaucracy, which I, again, don't actually have that much of available. Again, I don't have unincorporated territories, do I? I do not. I am still a little bit short of taxation capacity in Piedmont, so I'm going to build up yet another government sector there. I'm going to build one of these silk plantations in Lombardy right now. Again, these should build relatively fast because they're plantations, and plantations build fast. Okay. There's mechanized workshops researched. So that's going to get us sewing machines and mechanized looms and mechanized workshops for furniture manufactories. I'm going to enable those production methods right away. It's going to cost us tools, but it's going to make them more productive. Same for these. And then for the textile mills, actually are more productive at craftsman's sewing. So let's go ahead and enable that everywhere. Yeah, that seems right. Ratios are better now. Pressing issues. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties. Across Italy, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting with the next term of government. The first thing I take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar in the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? Would these adventures be profitable or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The far left makes decisive arguments, extra momentum to the far left, or the electorate trusts the right's policy, extra momentum to the right. You know, I'm going to pick the far left again. Get that unpaused. All right. So, from here, we're working on organized sports, and then it'll be steel frame buildings. So I think it's time to start building up our glassworks and our steel mills. We're going to need a lot of glassworks. So let's just build up like a couple of... Oh, they're all spread out. That sucks. That is not what we want. Yeah, doubling the size of the glassworks should be good. And the steel mills, again, we're producing 90 each, so we're going to need, like, 16 levels. Again, I want to build up kind of an industrial heart in the capital, but I've also got a bunch of different places. Where am I producing iron, actually, is a better question. Sardinia, Calabria, Tuscany, Piedmont, Savoy. I'm producing iron pretty much all across the country, which is good. Again, you don't necessarily want distributed industry here. So that's going to be 16 levels, and that's going to have to be enough. Filing cabinets. The use of filing cabinets in the government administration has drastically increased the effectiveness of state bureaucracy. The future isn't in flying like a bird or in roaring along in a train. No, the future is in filing. I love bureaucracy, 5% extra bureaucracy, or store information about our citizens, progress on ID documents. ID documents tech is not actually started yet, so we'll go with the progress on ID documents. Now, where are we with innovation, speaking of which? We are at 50% literacy. We are maxing out our innovation. And we've got... Or maybe we're not. Actually, we're not. We're no longer adding extra tech spread from excess innovation, so we also need to build up the university system as we get going here. And I know exactly where to do it, in the capital. Let's add a couple levels here. We'll add a couple levels in Piedmont, and then we'll add a few levels just kind of around the country, anywhere where it seems like we're a little bit short on education. We do need to build up Lombardy, Romagna, Umbria, Abruzzo. Yeah, just all these places where we got one level, we'll go up to 2. And we'll slowly filter those in over time. In fact, let's throw one of them at the top right now. Again, I'm very slowly working on these other railways. So we'll throw these universities in after. That's the election. That puts us in a righteous government. Okay, so the far left gained a lot of ground on the right, which is good. Because they're the ones who want to keep in control of the country. Now, I've got the ability to establish a second company. Manteroseta is a very productive company. There's quinine. Not doing any colonizing at the moment, but could eventually, depending on how things go. I could establish a paper cartel that would give me a big bureaucracy bonus. And that would be nice, because I'm a little bit short of bureaucracy compared to where I would like to be. Let me see. English upholstery. Alright, that's not going to be in England, that's for sure. Okay, so I think a lot of these are just located in a different country, except for Italian textiles. But they produce a generic prestige good, and I don't necessarily want location Emilia. So is this the needs more levels? No, it's the freaking ownership. Okay, no, these are all owned by Manteroseta. All right, so I can't double up on those. All right, that's my B. Ooh, United Construction Conglomerate. Actually, That's an interesting option. Because construction sector building throughput is very, very good. Would be nice. Ooh, did I just see a new company move into are available right now? Oh, it's a livestock one. All right, I'm not necessarily worried about that. Concerning myself with that. Let's do the paper thing. Loyalists from political movements would be really nice, and this would let me produce stylish furniture. But I think I need the bureaucracy most, because the bureaucracy is going to let me get more institutions. Is this smart? No, I'd mostly go with the furniture stuff. Let's do the furniture stuff. Alright, so Lazio Home Goods has been established. What can I give them? I'm going to give them investment rights, clearly. Do I want to give them... I can give them additional industry rights over logging and lead, so they can be vertically integrated, but that's going to cost authority. Okay. Am I spending authority on them currently? Doesn't appear so. I've got a Greener Grasses campaign going on in Lazio, which I think I can let go at this point. Well, no, actually, because I want to keep population flowing into my capital, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that going at the moment. Standard of living is much higher. I've built up a lot of railways, although not as many as I could. When I get innovation up. Still in a lot of transportation shortages, so I'm going to need to build these railways, although of course I've just queued in a bunch of universities, which I'm in the process of building. Let's intersperse so that I'm not simply goofing myself, and we'll slowly work our way towards having what we want to have. In fact, actually, I think we'll roll all of this until Rosetta starts producing prestige goods. Alright, that is wonderful. Back this way, and intersperse these as we go along here. Dangerous equipment. The furniture manufactories in Tuscany have seen an increase in workplace injuries through increased mechanization and poor safety regulations. Accidents have always happened, but I felt like I used to have time to react. Not this time. I grabbed his arm to pull him out of the way, and I'd barely gotten a hold of his wrist before the arm was all I held on to. Slow down production while the staff adjusts to the new machinery. Salty industrialists, but reduce manufacturers' throughput, or we can't put the brakes on the engines of industry. Salty trade unions, extra mortality. I'm going to go with the first one. I can live with the industrialists being a little mad, but what I can't live with is a lot of mortality in my country. Because Italy is not a country with a giant population. I can't afford to simply throw my people into the meat grinder the way the Prussians can, the way the French can, the way the English seem to at least act as though they can. Relations are improving with France over time, which is good. I'm feeling pleased by that. I can demand investment rights, but that doesn't seem right. I could draft a treaty. Take on debt. Interesting. Friendship of 1.3 million. That's not that much. They would be very pleased. But can I get anything for it? No. Well, we'll work on it. It's a work in progress, friends. Alright, so, again, we're hurtling towards steel frame buildings, and I think we're going to be doing a lot better when we get there. Actually, wow! We've gotten ahead of Russia in terms of our overall everythings, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think a lot of that is due to economic growth, increased literacy, and increased standard of living. Our population is continuing to go up. That's going to have always been the case, but It is what it is. Obviously, the government finances have continued to be pretty bad, to be honest. In fact, just terrible. I'm at high taxation, and my I'm paying a lot in subventions, actually. What am I mostly subvening? I'm mostly subvening luxury clothes at this point. I think that's... I think I've made an error in policy. I'm exporting tons and tons of luxury clothes. Well, that's contributing significantly to my economy, though. So if I drop the luxury clothes subvention, what does that do? Let's keep an eye on exports here. We're still bringing in silk. This is ridiculous. I need to put an import tariff on silk. This is ridiculous. I shouldn't be producing... I shouldn't be importing silk. I should be producing my own silk. Maybe I don't need to subvene exports of silk. Well, I mean, I'm not hardly exporting any silk, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I desperately need to increase silk production. So, as we do that, let me throw the rest of these silk plantations at the top of the queue. We'll get those. Those will be done pretty fast. The Italian-American Society demands action. The Italian-American Society has requested that we dissolve our defensive pact with Russia. Russia is a known opponent of American interests. We must be as comprehensive as possible. Any other approach is irresponsible. Russian aggression is as old as the hills. I fear that it may appear as though we're using our own nation as a piece on a chessboard for the sake of a foreign power. What would you say if pressed? A circumstantial alignment will not subordinate us. In this case, American interests happen to be Italian interests. It is as simple as that. Okay. We'll look into this, or this is not in our interest. -5 appeasement. Italian-American Society is just the industrialists. Oh, we'll look into this. Russia. We have a treaty. You're fighting Oman. So if we renegotiate this, they would rather not keep the defensive pact either. So what if we cut the defensive pact, we make it a trade agreement, they lose investment rights. 77% chance they say yes. Let's do it. Beautiful. That completes my lobby demand, and that's perfect. Protests across Sicily. The labor movement has organized mass protests across the Sicily region. While the protests have remained peaceful for now, local authorities have raised concerns about possible violence. It was more people than he had ever seen. Catania, once known for an almost pastoral character, had come alive with shouting voices and waving flags. With shouting flags and waving voices. Then other things that definitely make sense in context and that I didn't completely mess up the line read of. He always wondered if any of his neighbors were in the crowd. He had always thought he shared nothing in common with them. Perhaps he had been wrong. Allow them to air their concerns. Extra loyalist pops, extra political movement attraction. Delicious water. Pop strength increases, mortality from turmoil decreases, radicals from political movements increase. Or the authorities must act to halt these displays. Pops become radical instead of loyal. No increase to pop political strength. Increased state penalties from turmoil instead of decrease. And radicals from political movements goes up. I'm going to go with the first one. No penalties to that. I'm a rights country. This arrow, I guess this means unilateral. Constantine, are you banning slavery, sir? They did. They banned slavery. Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. I'm very pleased. I guess I've been mostly keeping debt down through privatization, which is a strategy. Austria is fighting the Ottomans, right? The Ottomans? Who are you shooting at? You're fighting... Oh my goodness, this is a gigantic war. It's Oman, nominally. You're fighting on the side of Oman and Russia against Britain and her allies. This is interesting. Britain getting her entire empire in most of her wars is making it pretty difficult to actually win a war with the British, which is not great. I don't love it. I currently have no defensive pacts. I am improving relations with France. It would be cool if there was like a declaration of friendship type treaty that I could have that could just be like, we're doing, that would just like improve relations a set amount over a period of time. I think that would be nice. That would be a very good type of treaty to have. While I'm thinking about this, I'm going to grab the steel mills and I'm going to intersperse them with the glassworks that I've got slated for construction here. I think I'm going to build about twice as many steel mills as I am glassworks, so we'll just kind of do 2 steel mills for every glassworks until we're all in a place we desire to be located at. Okay, very good. We got about 4 more levels to move up here. I want my shirt. Oh, can't sing songs. Can't sing songs. This is YouTube. This says you can't sing songs you don't own, and I don't own that song because it's Gilbert and Gottfried or whoever. I know it's not Gilbert Gottfried, and you know very well that it isn't either, but you know real ones will get the joke. Pretend it's a good joke and not just me being totally incoherent with the thing that I'm saying here. Alright, there's 2. And there we go. That should be fun. Alright. I might actually build up the industry I'm trying to build up on schedule, which would be just so nice. How's tech spread and production? Tech spread and production is going pretty well. We've actually finished out chemical bleaching, or we're close to finishing out chemical bleaching. I think I kind of desperately need steel railway cars, so I'm going to put that in first, and then I'm going to queue in dynamite, and then we'll be doing great. Are we at our innovation cap? We are. Are we getting a little bit of unspent innovation in the tech spread? Only the tiniest amount. So once this finishes, yeah, I think we need ironclad. I'm feeling like we're pretty weak overall militarily in ways that are making me feel kind of uncomfortable. I would love to have hand crank machine gun and military statistics, but I think it's the naval game we're actually down bad at. And I think gantry cranes is also going to help us. Jernicole is going to help us. Monitor is... Which is better, monitor or torpedo boat? I'm not going to figure it out looking at an army, am I? Monitor is 2030. Torpedo boat is 4030. So actually, I want to do... Oh my goodness. Carlo Torelli is the new president. So actually, I want to have... gantry cranes, Jernicole, self-propelled torpedoes. That's how I want to go about this. Alright. Angelo Carniani, one of our leading revolutionaries from the revolutionary period, has finally passed away, and our new country leader is Carlo Torelli. He's a bigoted, experienced diplomat. So we got a lot of influence to play with. I'm going to try to get a hold of some good treaties. Untrained hands. Children working in the furniture manufactories in Emilia have suffered injuries trying to operate the machinery used in production. After examining the boy's hand, the doctor sat back down, turned to his mother, and sighed deeply. Well, I'm afraid your son is never going to become a great musician, he said, but then again, perhaps that was never one of his more likely prospects. Keep children off the factory floor, reduce dependents' income. Or these new factories need all the employees they get, trade unions angry, extra mortality for laborers employed in manufacturing. I'm going to keep children off the factory floor. End of spring event, the world continues to be changing. Let's go ahead and improve some relations. Britain was damaging relations with us for a little while. I don't think they are anymore. How about Spain? Let's improve relations with Spain. It's been a minute. United States. We'll improve relations. I got a lot of influence, so I can afford to just throw around a bunch of influence, keeping my relations with various countries good. I got steel mills building in Umbria, which I don't think is part of my plan. I think I just sort of accidentally put that where it is, so... But we'll leave it. They're already building. It's fine. It's fine. It's perfectly reasonable. So, now that we've had a while to do it, let's take a quick look at... Now that we've had a while with the new policy, let's take a look back at the market and see how silk is going. No, it wasn't silk. It was luxury clothes. Okay, luxury clothes are still very, very affordable. But we're not subvening as much, so we're still trading to the international market, and that's good. Como silk, we are not nearly importing so much of it. That's very good. I'm very pleased by that. I think I need to build up a few more silk plantations. Now, I am privatizing these, so that company is going to buy this silk as soon as they get the capacity to. But obviously, we're doing our best with the transportation thing. Anyways, problematic police. Police officers in uniform have been discovered supporting the Italian-American Society activity while on duty, lowering public confidence in the police force. A resident of Sicily comments on members of the police force patrol that walk by in pristine uniforms with a hint of arrogance to their gait. Disdain drops from the onlooker's voice. These officers certainly think highly of themselves. They carry out errands for the Italian-American Society and take their gifts. They ignore their duty to the people of Sicily. As long as everyone is discreet, there's no harm. Italian relations towards the United States of America improves by 5. 5% of pops in Sicily become more radical. Or, we need to restore the public's confidence. 5% of pops in Sicily become more loyalist. Appeasement of the Italian-American Society goes down by 1. I'm going to do the second one. I can afford to alienate them a little bit, but the people of Sicily on the whole need to be... I need to make sure that I'm taking care of my people. Because standard of living is a little low here, and I can't do anything about that with my current cash flow, because I've just got a lot of projects in the works, including trying to get moved over to steel frame buildings, which I desperately need to do, actually. I'm in a really tight spot with all this. I've once again failed to adequately prepare for the transition to steel frame construction by building the necessary steel and glass infrastructure to build up what I want to build up. So, you know, it's normal Tuesday night for DegenCat playing Victoria 3. I'm always doing this with steel frame construction. So, you know, might as well distract ourselves with a little war. Now that I've got a larger army, can I get Zulu down to... I cannot, but I should have access through Gaza. Let's take a look at what would happen if I tried to take over Transvaal. Nobody would get involved. Let's do it. They've got a tiny army. I will send a tiny army to deal with them. I don't need to get creative about this. I just grab that which I wish to grab. Wonderful. This is good. We're expanding our overseas empire, and that will pay excellent dividends in the long term. Speaking of which, I think now's the time to start reducing subject payments. I think the numbers just don't make sense long term. I think it's a little penny wise, pound foolish, unfortunately. I think it's just a situation where when you increase subject payments, what you're basically, because these economies are much smaller than mine, the imposition of the subject payments that I'm pushing on them has a much higher impact for them than that tiny amount does for me. And that means that I'm kind of inhibiting overall growth within my my empire. They back down. Beautiful. That's wonderful. I'm so pleased by that. Let's be better friends. Marina Kingdom now. No diplomatic demands. I don't have an interest. Wow. How did this happen? I'll need to get myself an interest. Oh, I probably lost that interest when my Navy got the snot kicked out of it. With that being said, that is actually the end of the episode, my nerds. We have made a lot of good progress. We've built up our economy nice and strong. We've moved up to the 3rd position in the global rankings, so I'm feeling very, very pleased about that. And we even added a little bit of territory to our power block and our global empire. So, feeling pretty happy about that. And now we're getting just a hair more weekly mandate progress, which will maybe eventually become something that will allow us to really get forward in the rankings. So that is all we've got time for tonight, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.